So welcome to our Moxie Monday. I am very excited about today. I have been looking forward to tonight's call. And I get to introduce you guys to a fantastic person who I got to know. I guess, Erin, we really connected at this past leadership in San Diego. So every year Beachbody invites, the top coaches to a leadership event. And it's really a spectacular event. I think that you should all set your eyes on it because it's a great opportunity to get to know top coaches on a real level, corporate on a real level, just to understand the character of the business, and you will fall in love even more. So they spoil you, they treat you all amazingly, so you feel like a celebrity, and it's just really cool. Anyways, so Erin and I connected there. And it's probably because our husbands connected first, because my husband is much more of an extrovert than I am. But Erin is a mom of 3. So raise your hand if we got some moms on here who relate to the mom world. All right, that's right, girl. So you're in good company, Erin. We have moms on the call. She is a 6-star diamond coach. She is a 2015 elite coach. She is a Success Club all-star legend, which means she has hit Success Club at least 24 months in a row. So you guys can definitely have your eyes on that. When you hit Success Club 12 months in a row, you're considered a Success Club all-star. When you hit it 24 months in a row, you're considered a legend. And your name is plastered on the Beachbody site. You get these fancy titles, and you get to tell people how awesome you are. Or you have other people tell others how awesome you are. Anyway, she's also the founder of Moxie Fitness, which I love because when you're a mom, you feel like a zombie. And a lot of us can relate to that. I think it's really important what she's talking about tonight about evolving your why. So really quickly before I pass it over to Erin, I wanted to give you guys this fun intro disclaimer. Her topic tonight, it means so much to me because I do not think that, and I'm going to be totally bold in saying this, and maybe she'll agree or disagree, I don't know, but I don't think that you can operate this business without having a why. If you're just sort of like, when I feel like it, or sometimes I'm really excited about it, or when I'm really desperate and I need a quick paycheck, then I'll show up. That's not how this business works. This business works by showing up and doing the grind daily, and it's all based on why you want to build this business. Do you even believe that it's possible for you to reach your goal? Do you believe it's possible to reach your dreams? You guys might have seen that we launched an event this week today for Moxie and Love Fast, Live Slow. So you guys can go on that website and purchase Moxie gear, Love Fast, Live Slow gear, and the proceeds are going to support International Justice Mission, which is a part of my why, just to give back and love fast. So that's a part of why I do what I do, and so I'm willing to show up for it daily. That's a little example. It doesn't have to be as grand as like saving orphan children all over the world. It could just be to make sure you and your husband get a date night next month. I think that's a huge important why. So anyways, without taking any more of Erin's time, I will unmute you, girl, and we will get started. Thank you so much for joining us and just giving us your night.
Well, thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We're good? Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for the introduction. I am so honored to be able to speak to you guys tonight. I'm going to get started because, I want to respect your time tonight. I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm a slides person, so, bear with me. And my poor team, I like when people take notes. So generally before a call, I'll be like, do you have your paper? Do you have your pencil? Or, if you're into technology, use your phone. But we're going to get down in nitty gritty into your why tonight. And I absolutely agree with Laura that you got to have a really, really solid why. But I will go through the evolution of your why because it does change as you, develop certain skills and hit certain goals. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We'll get started. All right. So like Laura said, I am the founder of Moxie Fitness. I am a 6-star diamond coach, 2015 elite coach, Success Club legend. I'm part of the Market Council here in Canada. And I like to call myself a badass life changer. And not just a coach. Not that coach is bad, but I'm like, when people ask me what I do, I'm like, I'm a badass life changer. And that just opens up such a neat conversation with people, right? So tonight we're going to talk about evolving your why. And I'm going to talk about why that's important. Because at the beginning, and like so many of us, we don't necessarily start off with this crazy developed why that makes you cry. Most of us start off with, I want to get back in shape, right? And it's something very normal, right? And it doesn't mean that it's wrong, but it's just where we start. So I'm going to go through my story a little bit. About 3.5 years ago now, my husband actually had a pretty scary health scare where he came home one night after picking the kids up from daycare. And he's like, I can't, first he's like, I'm going to go lay down. And I'm like, what? Because that's not like him. And so I finally got it out of him that he couldn't feel like the left side of his face, his arm was numb. And I'm like, you're going to the hospital, because people die if they lay down with those kind of things. And so I won the battle and he went to the hospital. And in Canada, it takes a long time to see someone. Like, you don't just get in. So you could be waiting for like 8 hours in an emergency room. And what's even scarier is when he walked in, they took him in right away. So that freaked him out, I think, a little bit more. It ends up being high blood pressure. He was very overweight. We both worked corporate jobs, so we traveled a lot. We entertained a lot, which was a lot of booze and food and all that kind of stuff, and very minimal activity. And so they wanted to put him on a whole bunch of pills. And he was like, I'm just not really into pills. Not one of them told him to lose weight, but he's like, maybe I should lose some weight. So he tried running, couldn't get very far. He bought P90X and didn't read the instructions, didn't install the chin-up bar correctly, tried to do one chin-up and it fell on him. So yeah, disclaimer, all those disclaimers that's in all the videos, that's because of him probably, But anyways, he wanted to give up. And I've always loved Beachbody before coaching even entered the realm. And I had bought TurboFire off of an infomercial. And of course, it sat in my living room. I hadn't touched it because I had no coach, right? So I was like, man, that was a good idea at 12 o'clock one night. Anyway, so I said to him, I'm like, well, why don't you just try TurboFire? It's like, nah, it's a girl's workout. And I was like, oh man, you're going to do it now, right? Because he said that. So he's like, okay. So he looks at it and he's like, okay, so I'm going to pick the shortest one. So he did a HIIT 15, which is the actually hardest workout of the entire series. It almost killed him. But at one point, she looked at him and she's like, it's you, baby. It's all you, and you can do it. And that was the defining, changing moment for him. That was his aha moment. And when he finally made that commitment, here was my husband, who already worked crazy amount of hours, deciding to take 30 more minutes for himself. And I was like, man, I want 30 minutes too. Right? That's actually how I started getting back into working out after we had our 2 children. And so, he continued to lose weight. He started telling people about the programs. This was before coaching was available in Canada. And, when it opened, he actually said no to the first person who asked him to become a coach. And then he did a little bit more research and he decided, like, well, maybe, I'll make a little bit of money to buy a bike, because his next goal was a triathlon. And so he signed up, and while he was losing all this weight, like, men just seemed to melt the pounds away. I lost maybe about 25 pounds, which is great, but he had lost like double the amount of me. And so he signed up as a coach. He said, well, you should do this thing. I'm like, no, I'm not into sales. I don't want to do this. Like, this is your thing. You go ahead. Like, he stole my credit card, signed me up to make himself an Emerald coach. Right? So I was not the supportive spouse. I was like, you already work so many hours already. I can't imagine you doing this other thing. And so this was his ship and he was running for it. And so we ended up going to Vegas for a work conference, and we ended up getting pregnant with our 3rd child. And so he continues his journey and builds his business while I, gain all the weight and he keeps losing all the weight. So it was a really, really interesting first year. So if any of you guys are struggling with your spouses about understanding, I totally get that. I was the unsupportive person who's like, why are you on your phone all the time, right? But after the birth of our 3rd child, I, like many moms, are like, okay, I'm ready to get my body back, right? And so I was like, okay, I can do this. I'm going to take 30 minutes of my time and I'm just going to work on me. And I'm like, well, maybe I'll share a little bit on Facebook. So this was my first post on the left-hand side. I did T25. I followed Tanya. I posted pictures of my daughter. And like maybe a month later, someone contacted me and she's like, okay, well, you have 3 kids. It's so cool that you're doing this. Like, tell me what you're doing. So I did. And she ended up buying a program. I had never did a challenge group invite at that point. I was just posting my journey. And I didn't even have a challenge group for this poor girl. We just did a message back and forth because I only had one challenger. But she ended up sending me this message. And she's like, I did a sit-up, a real one, not just a crunch, using my hands to help me. OMG, I could cry. I've never been able to do that. And for me, that was my aha moment, because I realized that this business was not about sales. It wasn't about hitting targets. It wasn't about making money. It was literally helping women be better versions of themselves. I'm like, okay, I can get behind that. That was solid to me. That wasn't salesy or icky or whatever else you might think it is, but that's what it was for me. And so my why kind of started there. And, at the beginning it was, I want to get hot. I want to get back in shape. I want to feel good about myself. And that's great. We often start there. So if you're there, that's okay. It can evolve. But once you start to work on yourself and you start to hit those goals, like, 10 pounds, 20 pounds, or even if it's not pounds, whatever that victory is for you, and you hit that, you really need to reevaluate why you're doing this, because that no longer becomes the driving factor. And if you do not reevaluate why you're doing this, you will get stuck. So I got stuck. Right? I got stuck in, I had big goals in about, I think it was 2014, December. I wanted to become a premier coach, which is basically a 2-star diamond and above coach up to 5-star with a certain amount of elite points. And I thought my whole goal of I want to help women be better was like noble enough to carry me through. And it's not that that's not a noble enough why. It just wasn't strong enough to pull me through the roller coaster that coaching can be. And so I really had to dig deep. When I missed that goal of becoming a premier coach, I was like, maybe I'm just not cut out to do this, because I saw everybody around me succeed. And I thought, maybe this is just not my thing. It's run its course. And I was kind of in what I call the coach chasm. So sometimes when we become coaches, I explain it with a bell curve. So at the beginning, when we start coaching, we have, some success and we're all excited. And then maybe things start to trickle off a little bit and we kind of fall into this big chasm. And it's a big leap to get out. And usually the things that allow you to get out are big things, but sometimes it can take you a month. Sometimes it can take you 6 months, but it all depends on what you do. But this is where coaches go to die, because they think, well, I'm just not, I can't do this. It was so easy before. I'm doing the same thing. Nothing's working. So I'm just not cut out for this. But what it means you have to do is you have to actually change something so big about your why, have a different transformation, rank advance, do way more personal development to get yourself out of that chasm. And then once you're back out of there, yes, it keeps going and, you have a hunky-dory business, but it still has more ups and downs and you can still fall in more chasms. But it's generally where, when we first sign up as coaches, we fall prey to, I'm just not cut out to this. So tonight, we're going to get rid of your pageant why. Your pageant why is, I want to help people. It's like when people say, I want to solve world hunger or I want world peace. It's not that those are bad things. It's just not really specific enough to you for you to affect change. So what we're going to do tonight, we're going to write down your why. Why are you a coach? Why did you originally sign up? And I'm going to get you to write it down. And I'm going to give you a minute or so to write it down. On to that oh, where horizon meets heart of stone. On to that kingdom where every song that's sung finds its hope in glory tongue. Mended soul, we will sing with them. So
falling down, so cold. Remove your wedding and your feet rolling fast, find their way home.
I'm sure that there are a few of you who are still writing, but please take the time to kind of go over this while you either are going through the next couple exercises or even on your own tonight, because we're going to help you dig a little bit deeper. So this is the part of this exercise I love the most. What we're going to do is I'm going to get each of you guys to close your eyes and picture someone that you love. And I want you to see their face, and think, what do you wish for them? Like, what do you hope happens for them in their career, in their relationships, in their faith, in their finances, everything. And I want you guys to write that down. So we're going to take a little bit of time to do this exercise, but I really hope that everybody participates in this because this is really key. So let's get started. Everyone take some time and write this down. Who is it? What do you wish for them?
Lately I don't recognize you. The fire in your eyes is fading into embers. So while you're out there in the darkness, I pray you'll remember. You were made to shine. You were made for life. Even if you've lost your way, turn and you will hear love say, you were made for more, so much more. Child of everlasting light, made to blaze away the night. So baby, burn bright, burn bright. You can rise up from the ashes, make something beautiful of all the broken pieces. And I believe it, you'll come around it into the arms of Jesus. You were made to shine. You were made for life. Even if you've lost your...
All right. Okay, so this is the part of the call. Hopefully you guys can hear me. My husband and I are actually doing team calls at the same time, so we must have super internet if you can still hear us. Okay, so at this point, Laura, what I'll get you to do is pick one person for me, and I would like you guys to share this with the rest of us. Before you do this, I just want to encourage you all to know that the first time I did this exercise, I ugly cried. All right? So if you have emotions about this, totally normal. You will make me feel better if you are emotional too. But I also want to say that this is a safe space. So, whatever people share in here, please do keep that within the group just because some of these things are quite personal. So I'll get you to pick, Laura. That way I'm not the bad guy.
All right. I honestly, here's what I'm going to do. If you are, and this is like not a popularity contest, but if you're willing to share, if you're prepared to like have something, then raise your hand and I'll go from there because I don't want to call anybody out who is not really ready. So raise your hand if you're willing to share and I'll just randomly select. Somebody has to be willing to share. Shannon, I'm on you, girl. I would love, love, love for you to share.
Oh gosh.
Can we hear you, Shannon?
Hey, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first, wait, hang go to my notes. So you want me to answer the first question?
Yeah, so who's the person, and then kind of what you hope for them.
Okay. All right. So I thought that I originally, just a little backstory, like I had a lot of loss last year, and I lost my dad and my home and my job, and a whole lot of bad things happened. And so now I would like some restoration for my son to have a home again, and for me to have a home again. And I would like for my mom to find love again, because she lost my dad, and a new home, and a guy that I'm dating, for him to have financial peace and restoration with his children, and that's it.
Whew, I don't know if you can ever say that's it to that. That's powerful, Shannon. Wow.
Thank you for sharing.
Okay, who else? Because you said 3 people, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We could go all night, but I know that we only have a little amount of time.
Right. No, I would love. I mean, life is life, and we have people in our lives who we want things for. So raise your hand if you're willing to share. I'm looking for anyone. Natasha? All right. Thanks, girl.
Hi guys, how are you? The people I think of is I have 3 children and my husband, and they are the ones that I want to see just the best for, And sometimes I work really hard, I get distracted, and I just have to keep seeing that in my head. We live paycheck to paycheck. My husband has a very successful home inspection business. Even 40 to 50 inspections a month, it's just not enough. It's just enough to pay the bills and save up for winter time when it's slow to live through that money. And then we come into springtime and there's nothing anymore. It's always just, we use that reserve. It's like a vicious cycle. So I just want to see my kids' education's taken care of. I don't want to worry that they won't be able to go to whatever they want to do, grad school or just a simple college, and then have to worry about suffering from financial burden that everybody does when they have to pay back all of these school loans. I just want, not that I want to make it easy for them, but I want to give them a little bit of hope and just make things a little bit. I don't want them to struggle so much. I've struggled forever. I'm tired of struggling, So that's pretty much it. That's my why every day.
All right. Y'all got me all red-nosed. Thank you for sharing that. I see that Jessie has stepped up, and she said that she wanted to share. And I see Courtney actually typed something out, so I so appreciate you explaining that in the message, Courtney. Jessie, wherever you're at, can you unmute yourself? Oh, you're upside down. Let me find you. There you are. Okay. We'd love to hear you.
All right, I'm here. Actually, I lost my voice over the weekend, so I hope you can understand me. But, this week is actually my son's 9th birthday, so he's on my heart a little bit more this week. I mean, he's always on my heart, but you can understand. I've only ever actually got to be with my son for his first birthday, and I've never been with him for any of his other ones because I've always lived out of state. We've always been several hours apart, and we visit during summer and during major holidays and things like that. But his birthday falls in the middle of a school year, so I don't get that layover with him. And a big reason why I got into this was to be able to travel and see my kids more on just the regular holidays, even Mother's Day. This Mother's Day, I won't have them again, and I won't have my daughter either. And I'm also graduating college. My husband won't get to be there because it's just not financially able for us right now. So, and it is also the 10-year anniversary of my mom's passing. So all of those things, I kind of have like a lot of compound of emotions right now, and just pushing for Diamond pretty hard. And my focus right now is just so on the straight and narrow, finishing college and moving on to this next phase of my life, and just thinking like, I'm about to finish school, and that was always something. It's like, man, I'm going to have all this debt. What am I going to do? And, my children are far away. How am I going to see them? And when Beachbody happened, it was such a light in my life and such an eye-opening experience, because not only do I have something that can put me, I'm going to be there for my son's 10th birthday, his 11th birthday, his 12th birthday, every birthday for the rest of his life, and Beachbody will be a part of that, and they're going to make that happen. And so, anyways, it's huge, and tomorrow's his birthday, so I'm excited. I'm excited for the next chapter.
Oh, girl, Erin, you have to follow up that.
Wow. Well, all of these people in your lives that you've picked, often we pick people because we have a relation to them of the things that we want for ourselves, that we want for these people. And it's very, very important to do this often, to think of people that you have so much hopes for and have them very focal in your life, because this is what your business should be based around. This is what your why, developing your why, should be based around these things. Hello to your son. And I think that sometimes we get lost in it. And it's not necessarily about posting, all of these things publicly all the time. But when you do create your posts and you do create your challenge group invites, I challenge you all to be way more vulnerable about what you share with people, how you share with people, because when people feel that intent, that raw emotion that you're feeling right now, when you think about what you want to share, your business completely changes, because you don't become just like one of the other 430,000 Beachbody coaches. You become very unique. You become someone who relates to, the specific person you are going to attract into your business. Because the worst thing we can do is try and blanket everything. You want people who are going to be invested in you, you in them, and forge a relationship together. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share quickly, because we don't have a lot of time. I don't have too much stuff left. But I want to share a few more things quickly that I hope will help you guys. You can screenshot this, or you can, write it down. But basically, once you do this exercise where you do go through that person that you think of and you do feel the emotion when you read it out loud, you should read it out loud, even if you're by yourself, because that does elicit different kinds of emotions than just seeing it on paper. I want you to ask yourself, what injustice do you want to help eliminate in the world? Think of the things that make you mad or angry. It can be attached to that person that you're thinking of. It can be attached to your why, and that's what should, encompass your why. So for me, one of the things that really just drive me insane are women who are stuck in bad situations in their relationships with their kids, and they feel like they have nowhere to go. They can't leave. They can't, get out of a situation. I want women to have the power to choose. To say, to wake up every day, and yes, you can still fight with your husband or your significant other, but you still choose them. And it's an active choice on both parts, that you are actively working together to build a life together. So that's what I focus a lot of my posts on, making sure that you are still a priority, you fill your cup, you get your stuff in. It is not selfish. It is not, no more mom guilt, because you have to be in a good place to help other people, help your family, and just create such a more harmonious network, right? Okay, so it's not what you do, but why you do it. I really want you to encourage yourself to rewrite your why. So no longer are we just, oh, it got really dark in here. No longer are we just saying, I want to help people, and that's great, but who do you want to help? Why do you want to help them? What has coaching done for you? How has it changed your life? How is coaching going to enable you to help that person that you wrote about? Okay, so this is important because everything that you post needs to center around this idea. And hold on. Oh, that works. No, I'm still there. Okay. So the intent is what focuses your business and your life. And that's why you guys need to definitely think about all of these things when it comes to, you know, everything you post. You know you're supposed to post 3 to 5 times a day, right? This is what you need to think of themes in your life. Every time you post, you should ask yourself, so what? What does this mean? And your why will evolve as you hit your goals. And if you hit your goals and you don't evolve your why, that's when we get stuck. So where do you go from here? Remember that your why is what will attract people who are like you into your business. And as you hit your goals, it's important to develop your why with it. Sometimes it's a learning process to figure out where to go. But as long as you're learning, you're never losing. The one tip I will give you guys today is get super comfortable telling your coaching story. This is the formula. You can screenshot this, you can write this down, but this is the formula. Where were you before? What didn't you like about it? How has your life changed? And how do you see the future? You should be able to create a 2-minute story when you meet someone, and you don't even have to say Beachbody. You can say what you changed about your life. And I mean, I often ask people this when I go through this formula with my coaches. Where do you think that people connect with you the most? You can type it in the chat if you can. Like, do you think it's, you know, where you were before? What didn't you like about it? How has your life changed? And how do you see the future? Where do you think that people connect with you the most? Just going to open up the chat. If you guys want to type it in, that's, yeah, like, feel free to go ahead. Most people, they think, well, they want to know how your life has changed. And like, because you want, you know, transformations are so great. That's not where people connect with you. People connect with you about what didn't you like about it? What were you suffering with? People connect where you were at your lowest because you are speaking to those people that you want to help because you've gone through it before. So the more you can develop this coaching story and tell it as often as possible to as many people who will listen to you, your business will change. You will change because you are sharing way more of yourself. So if you haven't had time to develop this, it's so key. And I will leave you with Brené Brown. Authenticity is a daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. Because that is the key to this business. You do not need to be me. You don't need to be Laura. I mean, yes, we're awesome people, but so are all of you in your own right. And you have to really own that and know that you were meant to do this. Like, there is no coincidence about any of this. You met whoever you're sponsoring coaches for a reason, and you're here to change lives. Like, I know sometimes it sounds cheesy, but how many of you would say, like, oh, I can't believe someone asked me to be a coach. This is the worst thing possible. No one. You're like, thank you for telling me about coaching. So we always get freaked out when we're like, I got to tell people about coaching. Like, don't get freaked out. Just practice your coaching story, you know? Anyways, that's all I got for you guys. If you haven't listened to Brené Brown, Power of Vulnerability changed my life. And that's all I got, Laura.
Oh, girl, I'm sitting here reliving it. So it's the perfect timing, and I feel like it always is, that this weekend I spent all day Sunday, the time that I had during nap time, reevaluating my why. What do I want? How am I going to get there? And just buckling down on who I am. And you're right, it's evolved. So I have to I've been in this for 3 years, and I have to constantly go back and say, what do I want? Am I doing am I getting closer to doing what I want? Or am I just going through the motions? Am I coasting? Because if I'm coasting, I'm actually going backwards. Like, I have to constantly be hungry to pursue the goals that I have. And when I say goals, it doesn't mean necessarily Success Club 20 and Diamond Rank. It could be freedom. It could be getting out of debt. It could be you name it. And it's your life and it's your dream. It's your why. So you get to define it. So thank you so much, Erin. Thank you guys so much for being vulnerable. I know that this exercise should take much longer than 30 minutes. So if you have a couple of minutes tonight before you go to bed, write it down. And don't have analysis paralysis where you freak out and say, I just don't know what's powerful enough. Just start somewhere. Start somewhere, and it's going to grow and it's going to evolve. But be vulnerable. And that was a book, Power of Vulnerability.
It's an audiobook. It's on Audible, or you can find it on YouTube, but it's amazing.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'll post that on our team page, that link if you guys wanted to grab that. But we will end for tonight, and I'll post the recording on our team page soon. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for showing up. Make sure that you give some public shout-outs and thanks to Erin if you don't follow her already, because we love, love, love just being shared and showered with knowledge. So thank you again, Erin.
Thank you.
All right, bye, guys. Have a good night.